Welcome to the Explainer. So you're a second timer thinking about getting another BTO? Well, you've come to the right place. We're going to break down the playbook for 2025 because, let me tell you, the rules of the game have totally changed. Having a solid strategy isn't just nice to have anymore, it's absolutely essential.
So let's get right to it. Is getting a second BTO flat in 2025 basically impossible? I mean, you hear the stories, right? The crazy competition. It's so easy to just throw your hands up and think the odds are just completely stacked against you. But is that really the whole story? Let's dig in and see what the numbers and the new rules actually say.
And here's the thing, it's created this paradox for second timers. On one hand, the government has kind of opened the door a little wider for you guys by increasing the quotas. That's great, right? But what happens when you open the door? More people rush in. So now you've got way more competition, especially for those hot-ticket estates. It's a real double-edged sword.
All right, so to help you make sense of all this, we've got 5 things on the agenda today. We'll look at the new reality, your status, and the resale levy, what your ballot chances actually are, we'll decode the data, and then pull it all together into a winning strategy. Let's get started.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the new reality for second timers. A lot changed from July 2025, so let's get crystal clear on what that means for you.
So, before we go any further, let's be absolutely sure. Who exactly is a second timer? You know, the definition is actually pretty broad. If you've ever bought a BTO, a DBSS flat, or even an EC, you're in the club. Even if you bought a resale flat but took a CPF housing grant, yep, that counts too. Getting this right is step 1, because everything else hinges on this status. All right, now that we've got your status sorted, let's talk about the money side of things. There's a financial cost of entry you've got to be aware of.
And that cost? It's called the resale levy. Now, it's easy to think of this as some kind of penalty, but it's not, really. Think of it more as a way to balance the scales. You got a subsidy on your first place, which is great. This levy is just the system's way of making sure housing subsidies are spread out fairly between first-timers and folks like you who are upgrading.
So what are we talking about in dollars and cents? Well, to give you a real example, if your first place was an executive condominium, or EC, you're looking at a fixed levy of a cool $55,000. Now, your specific amount might be different. It all depends on what your first flat was. Don't worry, the exact figure will be spelled out for you black and white in your HFE letter.
Okay, financials are one thing, but what about your actual chances of, winning the lottery? Let's dive into the nitty-gritty of quotas and the ballot system.
Right off the bat, you need to know that the system is designed to give first-timers a pretty big advantage. I mean, for every single application, they get 2 shots at the ballot. You only get 1. There's no getting around it. It's a clear move to give first-time homebuyers a leg up.
But, and this is a big but, here's where things get interesting since July 2025. Yeah, you have fewer ballot chances, but the actual slice of the pie reserved for you has gotten bigger. For 4-room and larger flats, the quota for second-timers has literally doubled, from 5% all the way up to 10%. Now that is the opportunity you need to focus on in this new system.
Okay, with that good news comes a really serious warning, so listen up. If you're lucky enough to get a queue number and get called up to pick a flat, but then you back out, the penalty is no joke. You get hit with a non-selection count, and you're banned from applying for a whole year. The takeaway here is simple. If you apply, you better be ready to pull the trigger.
All right, we've covered the rules. Now for the fun part, strategy. This is where we stop talking about theory and start digging into the hard data from recent launches to find out where the real action is.
Check this out. In the July 2025 BTO launch, the median application rate for second-timers was 11.7. Let that sink in for a second. That means for every 1 flat set aside for a second-timer, there were almost 12 families fighting for it. 12! That's the level of competition we're dealing with.
But that 11.7 number, that's just an average, and it hides the real story. The extremes are just wild. Take a 4-room flat in Zimbabwe, for instance. The application right there was about 5.9. Still competitive, right? But then you look at a 5-room in a mature estate like Tampines, and the rate jumps to a mind-blowing 52.4. 52 applicants for every single unit. What does this tell you? It proves, without a doubt, that where you choose to apply is the single most important decision you're going to make.
Okay, so we've seen the rules, we've seen the competition. What do we do about it? Let's pull all of this together and build a winning strategy. Your actionable playbook starts now.
Here are 3 things you absolutely have to do. First, get that HFE letter sorted out early. Seriously, do not wait.
You want to know your eligibility and finances are locked in. Second, do your homework. Use the data we just talked about to find those less hyped estates. Go for the hidden gems, not just the hotspots. And third, be realistic. With that one-year ban hanging over your head, you can't afford to be picky. If you get a decent Q number, you've got to be ready to say yes.
Now for the money moves, you have to be smart here. The resale market has been strong, right? So chances are you'll have a good amount of cash from selling your current place. The smart play is to use that money to knock out the resale levy and take a smaller loan on your new home. Don't forget to look for extra help too. For example, if you're upgrading from a 2-room flat, the step-up grant could be a free $15,000 in your pocket. Also ask about the Enhanced Contra Facility. It can really help make the money flow smoothly from your sale to your purchase.
So let's be real. The odds are steep. The competition is intense. But is it impossible? Absolutely not. The key is to stop just hoping and start planning. By using data, being strategic, and making smart choices, you can genuinely turn the tables and give yourself a real shot at getting that key to your next home.